Now then, Chief Prosecutor Edgeworth. No need for the Chief Prosecutor bit, Your Honor. I'm here as a simple prosecutor. I mean... Huh. Someone said something, about, Oh, it's actually... Yeah. I was trying to remember who said it, but, I did remember who said... Like, I've read, Dale Carnegie's, a few of Dale Carnegie's books, but the one that I actually read more than once is the what was the title of it? How do you make how do you influence people or something like that, or make people like you? I always forget the title of the book, but you know, it's the most famous one. It's the most famous and popular one. Dale Carnegie. A really good book of simple instructions about how to approach people in many different ways. And he said in his book that, of course, like Dale Carnegie is like doesn't really have... He's a man of experience more than a man of intellect, really, of actually trying to actually find that formula of how to influence people and whatnot. But it's definitely one of the best books, if not the best book out there, for those who are, who wants to try and improve themselves in many different ways. And what he said in his book, that many people, even if they don't say it, they actually try as much as they can to to get recognized by their stature, or by their and of course, like if you finished medical school, for example, you would like to be called a doctor. People calling you doctor, you would have the DR in front of your name all the time. If you finished an engineering school, would be known to be an engineer and whatnot. So I gotta be honest with you, viewers, I've never felt that way. Although it is really important to, it's a card. It's a card that you can actually play, and definitely hold its strength, for that matter. Sometimes, like in certain situation, you want to be known in your full status. If you're an engineer, with your background, family status, wealth status, and all of that in some places. But humility and humble is definitely something that can be important too. It's not about being important. It's really important to influence people as well. This place, however, for stupid ass Edgeworth to lose the title Chief Prosecutor, like, what's the point here? What's the point in actually doing all of that? Being so humble. Shut up, Edgeworth. This is what I'm trying to say. Shut up, Edgeworth. Very well. Your opening statement, please, Prosecutor Edgeworth. Although I've been known of late to give an impressive opening statement myself. Forcefully, that is. In all the trials I have ever seen, only the prosecution gives an opening statement. I definitely need sunglasses. I definitely need glasses. Of course, you're right. I was just joking. Just having a little fun. So he wasn't doing them just out of fear. Interesting. He is. He is. Let's start with a brief overview of the UR1 incident. The incident occurred at the Cosmos Space Center 7 years ago, on October 7th. The victim, psychologist Athena Cykes, was killed in the robotics lab on the 4th floor. Athena's mother, Simon Blackwell, a young prosecutor at the time, was found guilty of the crime. There were two deciding factors that led to his guilty verdict. One of them is that he actually confessed of the crime. Well, actually, this is something that I mentioned before. Yeah, confessing to a crime doesn't make you guilty of it, really. It's the evidence that's talk. 1. Blackwell was the only person in the corridor to the lab at the time of the murder. And 2. This photo, which captured the moment of the crime. Did it really? Yeah, we've seen this. It didn't really capture the moment of the crime. Very incriminating evidence indeed. It would appear that the only conclusion is that Prosecutor Blackwell did indeed... Hold it! Are you kidding me? I'm not accepting any conclusion of the kind. This opening statement is over. Now, hurry up and call a witness. Excuse me, Miss Blackwell, but we must follow proper procedure for these things, you know. Or perhaps we should heed her wishes, Your Honor. She is the trial's sponsor, after all. Besides, the courtroom is chilly, and sitting for too long can't be good for your back. Oh, you're very kind to show such concern for the welfare of the elderly. I mean, are you sure that this this place here will hold? If you just hit your gavel here, this whole disc might crumble. And I don't know about that thing behind you. Definitely seems like it's gonna crumble at any time. As skilled as ever at playing the court puppeteer, I see. The prosecution called its first witness. A witness who decided to bring forth new testimony after 7 long years. Ted Tenate? No, I don't think so. I don't think... No. He didn't have anything to... I don't think he had anything to do with what happened 7 years ago. Maybe he was on the team that dismantled the bomb? New testimony? And just who is this witness anyway? Oh, really? Bobby Fulbright's the name, and Justice we trust. Yeah, Fulbright is actually becoming more suspicious. More and more suspicious, by the way, viewers. I gotta give it to this case. It's really hard to... it's really hard to actually connect everything. Like, I definitely suspect Juniper, but how can I connect it to what happened 7 years ago? Like, I might be able to connect Fulbright in some way, but... Maybe even Candace, but... Hell, even Clay. Even Clay. So, yeah. But it's gonna be really hard to connect Juniper to what happened 7 years ago. To what happened now? Yeah, I can see it, but to what happened 7 years ago? I really, don't know. What are you doing here? I'm just here to speak for the hostage taker, Miss Aura Blackwell. Oh. So you're not the witness? She is? She says she's too busy. But, with what, confining and threatening, the hostages, and all. That doesn't seem to stop her from constantly, chiming in through, the Clonco. I'm nothing more than an observer in this. Do your best. I'm watching you. Believing her brother innocent, Miss Blackwell has been conducting her own investigation. And though her current actions are hardly lawful, I think we can at least hear her theory. Hardly lawful? I have here Miss Blackwell's notes on the investigation she conducted. Yeah, cause that's credible. And I'll be giving testimony based on these notes. Here I go. Kinda stupid. But, okay. Or a Blackwell's theory. Simon isn't the murderer. He was trying to cover for someone. Someone else was at the scene at the time they say Simon committed the murder. I mean, if he really was out to steal that moon rock, then why the rolling case? Why the rolling case? Because he was using it to hide someone inside. That's why. Rolling case? And the only person small enough to fit inside that case was Athena Cykes. Didn't Pearls say something about getting inside one of them? And that's Miss Blackwell's theory. It totally goes in the face of the official ruling, huh? About the case she mentions, there were other rolling cases like that one in the lab. But they're not for traveling. They're apparently for moving parts and equipment. I mean, how do we prove that it was moved? I vaguely remember seeing 3 cases, all different sizes. At the last trial, they thought that Prosecutor Blackwell used the case to steal the rock. And they had a perfect good reason to think that too. Okay, but what's Athena's reason for stealing it? Yeah, she didn't think about that. What's her motive for stealing the rock? And didn't we conclude, or aren't we suspecting that the fact that whoever did this deed is also a spy? There are cameras. You see, there's a security camera in the corridor that leads to the robotics lab. And that camera captured footage of Blackwell leaving the scene with the case. And we only got presented with these pictures right now. Not when we were there, huh? I can see why the footage helped to bring his trial to a quick end. It's very convincing, that's for sure. 7-year-old video updated in the court record. Video showing the corridor to the crime scene. Blackwell was the only one to pass through at the time of the crime. Didn't really get updated, but I think they just added the new camera, the new picture. here. Something off with this picture, really. Was he wearing the same sleeves? I think this is a little bit like navy, and this one is a little bit grayer, right? Like, this is a bluish gray, a little bit, right? Maybe that's just me. That case, by the way, was later discovered outside of the Space Center grounds. Speaking of after the incident, where was the defendant Athena Cykes found? That's actually a good question. She was found on the 5th floor of the Space Center in the Cykes family residence. Prosecutor Blackwell most likely brought her there after the incident. When was she? Before, during, and after. That's important. I would probably ask about that. In addition, it is unknown where Miss Cykes was at the estimated time of death. Uh-oh. Miss Cykes was too confused by the shock of her mother's death to give a proper testimony. Uh-huh. And there was no witness or evidence to tell us where she might have been. So what you're saying is Miss Cykes didn't have an alibi? That is what the evidence is saying, yes. I understand the reasoning behind the theory, but I'm far from convinced. The victim is the accused mother. Are you actually claiming an 11-year-old girl? Of course, the girl had a very strong motive. Which is? Dr. Cykes was a psychologist who wrote many papers about speech and emotions. You're aware of Athena Cykes' special ability, aren't you, Your Honor? People know about that? Are you referring to that therapy thing? Yes, she's done it quite a few times in court. Yeah, but I don't think people think. I didn't think that people thought this was her special ability. I thought that she was using widget as a tool to inspect people's emotions. The ability to read emotions from speech, and the subject of her mother's research. Okay, we still don't know about the motive. What is the motive? Well, as long as it benefits society, I don't see any particular problem researching it. I don't like where this is heading. Not one bit. Dr. Cykes was so intent on her research, she forced her daughter to undergo experiments. Prosecutor Edgeworth, are you seriously suggesting? I've done my best to be delicate, but even you can deny it to be true, Mr. Wright. No longer able to withstand the anguish of the experiments. Miss Cykes felt her only choice was to kill her own mother. I don't think so. Ah! Oh, look at all that rubble. Order. Order in the court. What a tragic story. I hardly want to believe it myself. But we must proceed. Mr. Wright, if you could. Detective Fulbright, please refer to the notes. Guess we're gonna cross-examine this somehow. What can we get? As per usual. It's a clever theory, but it doesn't look like they have any solid proof. If I push, maybe I can uncover some flaws in it. The flaws of it not, you know, that there are no evidence that actually can report that. Like, maybe this is the idea here. Like, do we have any traces of you know, DNA traces of her being inside one of these cases, or for example, fingerprints at the very least? Simon isn't the murderer. He was trying to cover for someone. So Prosecutor Blackwell willingly accepted a death sentence to protect someone else? Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Yes, that is precisely what Miss Blackwell appears to believe. And that is what I believe as well. Prosecutor Blackwell is no murderer, Mr. Wright. But Athena Cykes certainly didn't kill anyone either, Mr. Edgeworth. Objection. So it appears neither of us can afford to go easy on the other. Fine. I expected no less. Oh, I remember this tense atmosphere. It's so invigorating. I'm only reading notes here, but yeah, I feel extra invigorated too. So let's keep going. Someone else was at the scene of the at the scene at the time. They say Simon committed the murder. But that's just speculation. Objection. No, Miss Blackwell has proper ground for her claims. Objection. Then why didn't you say so in the first place? You're the one who screamed "hold it" and cut me off. Fine, so maybe I jumped the gun by a teeny weeny bit. Now I know what they mean when they say close enough to argue. Moving on. Yeah, this whole thing was was useless. I mean, if he really was out to steal that rock moon, then why the rolling case? This rolling case. I suppose you mean the one that existed in the photo with the Prosecutor Blackwell in it. Which one, though? Oh, I guess it's the biggest one. Okay. But was it absent when the crime scene photo were taken? Yes, that's the one. And Miss Blackwell has drawn a conclusion from these two photos. She has? And what is that conclusion? You're the one with her notes. Oh, right, of course. reading them now. So, why the rolling case? Because he was using it to hide someone inside. That's why.
Hold it.
And how do you propose he hid a person inside one of those cases? Have you forgotten that we saw just such a thing only the other day? At your own daughter's magic show, she fit a grown person into a small box. I mean, but Trucy wasn't there. Oh yeah, way to ruin the memory of a good day. Magic show? I wish you would have thought to invite me. Actually, would have liked to go too. My apologies. I'll invite you both next time, I promise. So, wait a minute. What were we talking about again? About putting a person inside the case. Yeah, I guess it does make sense. Prosecutor Blackwell was using the case to hide someone. So he managed to fit both the case and the moon rock? What about the sword? The weapon used in murder. It belonged to the victim. The victim's blood was found only on the blade. Where was the sword? Was it thrown? Ah. Okay. I definitely noticed something. I don't know if it's gonna have if this is gonna be the time we're gonna present it, but you know, it's about not finding fingerprints on the sword because he definitely wasn't wearing any gloves, so it would naturally show that he did. It should have showed that he actually did. It should have showed that he actually had fingerprints on it. So what was missing? The sword, the moon rock. What else? Where's the newspaper? Was it here? No. It was a newspaper clipping. I think it's here, yep. Black, brown. So the sword was left here. Yep, same place. And the only person small enough to fit inside the case was Athena Cykes. But that's nothing more than conjecture. And it's hardly the only possibility. Yeah, I was going through all of these photos, by the way, viewers, just, you know, to try and find something. And I, of course, as I said, the fact that that Simon held the sword and then wiped out the his fingerprints doesn't make sense. Although there was like a piece of paper or a piece of handkerchief. I don't know if it was a paper or a handkerchief. So he might actually just wiped the fingerprints. Although it doesn't make sense that he wiped the fingerprints but not the blood. Why would he wipe the fingerprints but not the blood? But that's nothing more than conjecture, and it's hardly the only possibility. In that case, what do you think Prosecutor Blackwell had in that case? I think it was the moon rock.
Objection.
There were 3 cases at the scene. Prosecutor Blackwell used the largest one. The moon rock was egg-shaped and only about 8 inches in diameter. It wouldn't have made any sense to use the largest case there just to move that rock. I mean, he picked it up because it was the nearest.
Objection.
Maybe. Be that as it may, it doesn't prove Miss Cykes was inside. Then let me ask you this. Can you come up with a better theory of what was in the case? I mean, the moon rock. Just because it's big doesn't mean... just because the case was big and the moon rock was small doesn't mean that it's not... like it doesn't mean that he should have gotten a smaller case and he should go to the smaller case. That doesn't make any sense. Well, Mr. Wright, can you? Yikes. Give a guy some time to think. Let's see. Should I try to bluff my way through what could have been in that case? Of course we're gonna bluff. I know exactly what Prosecutor Blackwell carried from the scene. I just have to find something else that was missing, right? No sweat. I cannot say the sword because the sword was here. I am gonna say that it's gonna be the arm, maybe, because it's not here. The robotic arm. Yeah, I guess the robotic arm. Oh, I'd be very interested in hearing your theory. If it's true, that is. This is a crime scene photo taken after Prosecutor Blackwell left, correct? All we have to do is compare this with this photo of Prosecutor Blackwell to see what's missing. If he took something with him, then it should be in one of these photos. Lady Luck, don't fail me now. Alright then, Mr. Wright, let's hear your theory. Are they actually gonna penalize me? What did Prosecutor Blackwell take from the scene of the murder? Okay. For some reason, I couldn't actually move around. Again, I cannot move around. Huh. Is the game bugged? The game is kind of bugged. Yeah, it's the robotic arm. Please notice that there is a robot part on top of the cart in this photo. However, in this photo taken after the crime, the robot part is gone. In other words, this part is something that was taken from the scene of the crime. You do appear to be right. I don't see it in the second picture. But it's just a piece of junk. How important could it be? I mean, that doesn't matter. Is it really just an insignificant robot part? Speaking of which... What are you looking at? I'm gonna start charging for each glance per eyeball. What? In what place do you actually charge for a... You're... I don't think even strip clubs do that. Stingy. What happened to the age of free previews? Huh? What does that even mean? Your Honor, about this robot part. Doesn't it look like it could be an arm from that robot there? Well, now that you mention it, it does, doesn't it? I mean... Alright, let's go. Let's follow through. I don't think it's gonna matter that much, but whatever. But the case is still too big to be practical for just the moon rock and a robot arm. But was it really just the one arm that was in there? If it wasn't Athena in the case, then maybe. I believe there was another robot at the scene that looked just like the one here. Your Honor, it is the defense's assertion that it was this other robot that was in the case. What? I like that the robot is actually on two cases. These robots are short as hell. We can't be certain that that part belonged to a robot. I mean, it is. Yes, it looks like the arm of the one before us, but it could be something else entirely. Besides, it's wrapped entirely in bandages, making it difficult to verify what it is.
Objection!
Yeah, we can actually tell that it's from a robot because we have that picture. I know for a fact that it is a robot arm. I can even tell which robot it belonged to just by looking at it. With this information, we can investigate whether it was there at the time or not. Let Uncle have a nice day. Pour himself some tea. Yes, I know. Drinking tea at 4:40 a.m. Hey, look, man. Nothing wrong with that, actually. It's perfectly fine. Caffeine. At the dawn. Caffeine at the dawn. But Mr. Wright, I thought you were more of the technologically illiterate type. When did you become such an expert? I feel somehow abandoned. Not to worry, Your Honor. I still know next to nothing about machines. I mean, he's not a machine, he's a robot. Machines are not robots. Robots are not machines. But I know this piece of evidence proves which robot the arm belonged to. And we can get penalized too. It was this one. The robot in this picture is named Ponko. But take a look at Ponko's arm. It was Miss Cykes who bandaged it up like that. She must have thought that machines heal in the same way that people do. What an adorable, naive mistake. It reminds me of my grandchild. of my own grandchild. Okay, I thought this is gonna take us actually somewhere. Where's the punchline in that joke? The robot arm at the crime scene had the same bandages wrapped around it. In other words, this robot arm could belong to none other than Ponko. Order in the court. Order, I say. Prosecutor Edgeworth? What do you have to say to this, Chief Prosecutor? I can see that the robot is about the same size as a child. Not as heavy though. But it cannot grab its knees and curl itself up into a ball. Okay. Even if it was the largest of the cases, the robot couldn't have possibly fit in there. So you're first and foremost, you say that the case is too big. Now the case is too small for a robot. The case does comes up to about mid-thigh on Prosecutor Blackwell. I see your point. The robot is much taller than that. They've got me there. So then, did Prosecutor Blackwell make Ponko fit into the case by compacting her, dismantling her? Of course Ponko would fit. All Prosecutor had to do was dismantle her. Once taken apart, the robot could have easily fit inside that rolling case. All of this is stupid, by the way, viewers, because all of what Phoenix Wright is trying to do here is just convince people that yes, you can actually fit something else, and that something else is the robot. But why would he do that? Can we actually find a reason for that? It appears to be a robot assembly device. Disassemble anything in a flash. Push the dismantle button. Oh, that Pearl's that's talking. She's not a robot. Well, at least not in this game. That sounds pretty neat. Can I push it, Mr. Nick? Well, they said that you can dismantle in a flash, so... It sounds rather violent, but Mr. Wright does have a point there.
Objection!
Objection! He's sounding more and more like Von Karma. Except that there was a body on the table where robots are dismantled and assembled. There would have been no room to take the robot apart.
Objection!
But what if it wasn't done on the table? What if the katana was used instead? I would go for the fact that maybe it was dismantled before the murder. That would make more sense, right? Maybe the robot was already dismantled. You mean the sword? Yes, Your Honor. Miss Blackwell, I'd like your opinion as a woman of science. Isn't it true that the katana could have been used to take the robot apart? I suppose so. Their joints aren't made of a very tough material. A blade could slice through them. Well, I guess the katana can do the trick. Thank you for your expert opinion, Miss Blackwell. Thanks to you, we now know that the existence of the severed arm in this photo proves that Ponko was taken apart. In addition, since the wrist of Ponko was not found at the scene, we can conclude that the true meaning of this photo is very different from the original interpretation. You can't mean. That's exactly what I mean. This photo does not capture the moment of the murder. It is instead a picture of the moment after the robot was sliced apart. The blood you see where the arm was cut off was transferred there by the bloody katana. Most likely, the wrist of Ponko is scattered around Prosecutor Blackwell's feet. Not hearing this. Why? Therefore, what was wait a minute. Why do you not want to hear all of that? You're fine and you're fine with beating the shit out of your robots and then reassembling them again. So why would the thought of them being dismembered is like so terrifying to you? What? Hold on a minute. That doesn't make any sense. Maybe Klonko is the one that was the one talking. Therefore, what was transported inside the case was not the defendant, but a robot. Miss Cykes never was at the scene at the time of the murder. We cannot confirm that. My head, my body. Where am I?